Good afternoon and welcome to The Problem with Being Awake. My name's Ben, I'll be your host. And as a psychologist, I've spent years trying to understand what we now call the woke mind virus. Wokeness and wokeism is not the same. The woke mind virus applies to the individuals who've been affected by an incredibly corrupt, educational environment where they've been exploited, really, taught more communist history than Western history. All of history they've been taught to look at it as a bad thing where people got persecuted. Now, history, if you wanted to play that, it's a zero-sum game. Back in Africa, we almost destroyed the human race because of racism, and that was black on black, tribe on tribe, because it's about bigotry, it's about a persecution of something you fear and don't understand. And we did that to ourselves. The estimated amount of people who survived being human, when there were millions, got down to 13,000 when they left Africa. And I think about 8,000 didn't leave Africa. So we were literally on the blip of extinction. Now, for millennia, God has been a central part of everybody's world. And now, in Western world, we've got to admit, Catholicism and Christianity is on the down massively. And certainly in England, we're very unreligious here. And although I have my own beliefs, I don't subscribe to an organised religion, but I certainly don't think everything happens randomly by accident. I used to. I don't anymore. I'm still working through my own belief system. But I'm trying to find purpose and meaning like we all are. And I think that wokeness is the new religion for Gen Z. And I think that's how they feel about their precious identity that they've recently changed or might change again tomorrow and again on Friday next week. And, like a Sam Smith type character who keeps changing to get publicity. And a lot of these people are trying to get publicity on TikTok and things like that. And it's just not funny. And when you watch the videos, they're so easy. No coherent, no woke mind virus individual who's caught it can ever defend their position when it's argued with by a conservative, middle of the road conservative man or woman who doesn't believe in what they believe. I've never seen it. I've been researching it for 8 years. I've never seen one win that debate. I've seen them all lose because their ideas are based on nothing really. They're based on what was installed in them as young adults. And bear in mind, in 2019, gender dysphoria was a mental health disorder under the World Health Organization. And they then declassified it. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a mental disorder. I have PTSD. That's a mental health disorder. It's complex PTSD. And, I manage it now. I've had it for 20 years. I manage it now well. It doesn't affect my life. But I still have it. It's still on a record. Because if something went wrong, people would need to know that, because the way I might react would be differently to other people. That's just a personal thing, but I honestly think, look at now in 2024. The LGBT movement of old is really gone. And I know this from a lot of gay friends. I don't have many lesbian or bisexual friends, but I know from a lot of gay friends they don't feel anything towards that anagram or that community anymore. Because it's now 2S LGBTQQ, 2S LGBTQQIA plus infinity sign. And that's the abbreviated version of the acronym. So in 5 years, trans rights in sports and everything like it has become so prevalent in our news. Ask yourself, in 2019, or even go back to 2015, was it a part of your life? Was it a part of society? Was it something that was always a contention point and always difficult to deal with? No. The idea that these people will have suicide if they don't have the surgery is the worst and most ill thought through propagated lie in history, when the facts show that in terms of the recent craze of transgenderism, where children are being recruited online effectively, brainwashed online, taught hate by their teachers at school and communism and how to see things through the lens of being a victim. And then so many of them declare themselves as trans just to fit in, because the number before 2019 affected 0.004% of people. Now it is affecting percentiles. So it used to be a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent. And now it's certainly way more than one in any Western demographic I've heard of. And I've heard bigger numbers. And in the protest group, I've even heard 30% LGBTQ++ IA people. And they're pro-Palestine. And the Palestinians actually would see it as their religious duty to either imprison or slaughter all of them, because it's against their religious law. It's an absurdity. But that's why it's clouded everything they think, because they can't see that absurdity. One person with a master's in gender studies wasn't aware that Muslim countries or Islamic countries don't allow sexual deviance. And she had to have this pointed out to her by a tall gay man who said, well, they would kill me if I went to Palestine. No. Yeah, they kill all gay people. They just throw them off the roof. It's a crime to be homosexual in any Muslim country. She said, that can't be right. And then said, what about Israel? Do they allow gays? He goes, oh yeah, they're actually one of the gayest places in the world. And it's true, they are. You've got Sydney, but then Israel's right up there with Rio as well. And, it's ridiculous that they make these assumptions, they make these assertions. None of them have the full research of the history of the Palestinian people. If they know that the only time anyone has actually settled and used a name like Palestine is Palestinia in the 3rd century, and that was in Syria. Whereas the land in Israel was built by King David just under 1,000 years before the Prophet Muhammad was born, and Bethlehem by King Solomon before Muhammad was born. So it's not stolen land, but they're all obsessed with this idea. And to me, the fact that we have not got so much God in our lives as a Western civilization, Catholicism and Christianity has been on the downfall for a long time, and it's probably got to the stage where Generation Z is the first generation not to have had any reason to try and deal with the idea of God and deal with that idea in their own head and try and make sense of it. And it's something that I have a personal belief system. I'm not sharing it because I don't need to, but I would never take away anyone's religious beliefs or argue with them, because if they bring them comfort, that's a very nice thing in this world. And I think that all these woke young people are just looking for comfort, and I think they found a new deity in God. And they do have chapels, and they do have prayers, and I'll leave you with this. Their prayer starts, give thanks to our Lord Jesus, who had 2 dads, and then it continues on to loads of other garbage. Now, 2 dads. So the Bible would be rolling in its grave. He had, if anything, if you want to use the word dads, he had a dad and an absentee dad and a stepfather. But in reality, he had God. If God is his father, Joseph is his stepfather. Neither are his dad. It just shows what the generation is capable of. But they're seeking meaning, and society's not giving it to them. And it's a shame, because they'll find it hard to come back from where they've gone to. So I'll leave it there. If you enjoyed the video, please do share, like, subscribe, and you get notifications when I send my next ones out. You be lucky this week, and I'll be good.